The city of Viriconium is in trouble. As anyone will tell you, the government is ineffective, the arts are in decline, the Barley brothers, who may or may not be gods, roam the streets swearing, breaking things, and causing a general ruckus, and a strange plague has taken hold of parts of the city. Ashleim, a painter and illustrator of some reputation, is concerned because Audsley King, the greatest painter of their age, has sequestered herself in one of the plague-ridden neighborhoods. He breaks protocol to visit her, paint her portrait, and try convincing her to leave for a safer district, but she refuses. His visits do draw the attention of the Grand Cairo, a dwarf in charge of the secret police who are trying to contain the plague. Grand Cairo turns out to be a dangerously mercurial figure, who insists on recruiting Ashleim as a spy against the alleged conspiracies of the Barley brothers. Feeling trapped and used by people and forces against which he is helpless, Ashleim makes a desperate decision to smuggle Audsley out of the plague zone in an attempt to save a fellow artist, and perhaps art itself, in Viriconium. If you couldn't tell, this short novel is about art, its power to shape our lives and perceptions, its value in itself and for culture as a whole, the results of its commodification, and what power it has over time. More than the previous two books in this series, In Viriconium is smaller in scope and more focused on a couple of central characters. It lacks almost entirely the breadth and drama of either the Pastel City or A Storm of Wings, along with almost all of the speculative elements from those novels, whether you considered them Dying Earth fantasy, science fiction, science fantasy, or something in between. The most obvious fantastical element is the plague itself, which is less of an actual disease than it is a haze that has physical and metaphysical corrosive effects. It makes people become ill more readily. Physical structures inside it show signs of increased entropy, and it creates a sense of malaise leading to despair far beyond the officially designated plague zone. The descriptions of it made me think of the colorless fog in Demon Souls, and, more strongly, of the Pale from Disco Elysium. The Barley brothers are also fantastical in their own way, as is Grand Cairo, but for a good stretch of the book, it can be difficult to determine if they are actually supernatural in any way. This ambiguity is intentional on Harrison's part, but its effect is vague at best.
The effect? I'll tell you what the effect is! It's pissing me off! Well then maybe...
The final quarter of the novel becomes nightmarish and phantasmagoric, but since so much of the preceding page count has been light on context, it's difficult to grasp the weight of these kaleidoscopic scenes. Similarly, a late play at introducing imagery from Percival and the Fisher King from Arthurian myth lands wrong. A lack of foreshadowing does not help, and because the book is trying to be a deconstruction of fantasy fiction, a sincere echoing of Arthurian legend tastes like the author wants to have the best of both worlds. In terms of his craft, Harrison is both complex and accessible in this novel. His sentence construction and diction show a sure hand, and his characterization is strong too. You can really get a grip on these characters, or at least as much of a grip as you're meant to have. Those elements all work well. Readers expecting a story anything like the previous two Viriconium books, however, are probably going to be dissatisfied. It's like if you're hungry for a good hamburger, and your friend takes you to a fashionable, high-end, dead-tech, postmodern restaurant where they serve you a deconstructed avant-garde burger with a side of foam that contains the essence of potatoes. It may be good, or challenging, whatever the hell that means, but it won't be what you hoped, what you wanted, or what you needed. One potential approach to getting into the novel is to read In Viriconium as both a meditation on the place of art and as satire of the fantasy genre. There is no grand adventure, but there is buffoonery that wouldn't be out of place in a Three Stooges short. The attempt to stage a kidnapping to rescue Audsley from her own choice to stay in the plague zone is by turns comedic and disastrous for everyone involved. One of those terrible situations that spirals out of control and you have to laugh to keep from crying. It made me think about that scene in Office Space where Michael Bolton laments at how many stupid people can be good at crime, but smart guys like them are so bad at it. The same sentiment applies here. My biggest takeaway from this book is about how excellent the Pastel City is. That story was so strong that it carried me through 2 following novels that I'm lukewarm about at best. The Pastel City combined both the action of fantasy adventure stories and the elegiac aspects that are much more dominant in A Storm of Wings and In Viriconium. The latter 2 books are not bad, but I find them much less satisfying, since they operate much more like artistic or intellectual exercises than as stories. I know Steve at Heroic Book Adventures has expressed similar disappointments, and if you want his nuanced take on the matter, I'll have a link to his channel down in the description. In Viriconium exists in a range of similar stories that are just as, if not more enjoyable, or as artistically ambitious. The Plague by Albert Camus covers similar ground in a realistic setting, while also exploring existentialist philosophy. The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa is a meditative dystopian novel about a community being affected by a plague that makes things disappear along with people's memories of those things. The novel also questions the ability of art to enrich and preserve life. If you want fantasy novels that also delve into questions of memory and the arts, the books by Guy Gavriel Kay, like Sailing to Sarantium or A Brightness Long Ago, are excellent choices. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings also address major philosophical concerns while providing thrilling adventure narratives too. Maybe you've heard of those. But what do you, the audience at home, think? Are you familiar with In Viriconium? How do you think this book compares with the other parts of the series? What is the right balance between participating in a genre and being critical of it? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my peculiar notions. If you appreciate this channel and want to support it, you know what to do. You can also take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel of another YouTube creator you enjoy, or the algorithm will return us all to the pandemic lockdown. Until next time, read some good books, live, and be well.